Okay, so we missed this last week because, well, we were obsessively talking about Switch 2, but Asus did put out a teaser suggesting that they are indeed putting out an Xbox handheld at some point in the future. Indications suggest it is going to be happening in 2025. And there were some mild hints about the kind of things that we should expect from it. And Oliver, I'm curious what you think about this because, well, from what I'm seeing, it's not looking like a sort of console-like mainstream affordable device, is it?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. To me, this tease makes it sound like an updated ROG Ally with maybe some more device integration from the Xbox team from Windows here, because they seem to be teasing a faster device potentially than a ROG Ally. The specific tease is on the monitor the little robot is working on in this trailer.
Boy.
It says marathon stamina. So I think, maybe more.
We're interpreting this right now.
Yeah,
Really? This is great.
Yeah, more stamina, presumably longer battery life, right? More capacity, larger storage, right? Faster speeds, obviously a more performant processor, perhaps a Z2 processor, and fresh look, obviously a new design language. So to me, that says maybe a 1 terabyte design with an Xbox inspired design language. Again, just kind of like spitballing here. Maybe those more prominent grips we've heard, I think in a couple of pieces possibly here, which would certainly be good for ergonomics. And yeah, I mean, I'd expect this to get revealed pretty soon. I'd expect maybe a release in the next 6 months or something. I'd probably expect just based off of this tease here. But yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately, like with all these Windows devices, it just comes down to what is Microsoft doing on the software side, because that's going to be a really good experience. I'm kind of skeptical, but if Microsoft can fix a lot of those issues on day one, that's good. And certainly as an alternative to like the Armory Crate software that Asus usually ships in these devices, that could certainly be preferable. I've spent a long time fiddling with Armory Crate in my time on Windows before I gave up on it for Bazite, of course, famously last year. And it was not always such a great experience. But I'm definitely interested in this between SteamOS, Switch 2, and Windows Handheld. So I'm not sure which one you'd necessarily go for, because I think in the Nintendo ecosystem, Switch 2 looks really good. And then on the Steam Deck side and SteamOS side, you've got the Lenovo Legion Go S out soon, which could be quite nice. It seems quite nice to me. Obviously, you've got the classic Steam Deck and Steam Deck OLED. Those are quite nice. But I think this could be a good device if they deliver on battery life, they deliver on performance. It could be a nice high performance option. And then, of course, it's all down to Microsoft in delivering a Windows experience that actually works on a handheld, works on a controller, works on a touchscreen pretty well here. That's kind of the perennial concern, I suppose. But I trust that Asus can deliver a good handheld for sure, because they definitely have delivered good gaming handhelds in the past.
Absolutely, yeah. The Ally X, I think, was excellent. It just resolved everything that I had issues with. Well, everything, a lot of things that I had issues with the basic Ally. Stuff like I needed extra memory. You get extra memory. The battery life is awful. They got a huge battery in there.
Yeah.
So it's not so much mitigating the problem as just like throwing a brute force solution at that particular one. So I would expect hopefully that there would be like an evolution of the Ally X with this. I'd like to see the same amount of memory in there, but I suspect that is asking a lot. But why not? I mean, why not? And the faster speeds, you've kind of got to think it's a Z2 Extreme to do that, unless they're just going to overclock the Z1 Extreme, because there's no other options on the AMD roadmap as far as I can tell. So yeah, that should be interesting. If it's a Strix Point level device, you should get a lot of performance from that. Yeah, so potentially very, very good. I'm excited. Asus know their stuff. Certainly, some of the issues that with the original Ally in terms of the thermals and whatnot were addressed with the Ally X. And then you've got the collaboration with Microsoft. I guess the question from my perspective is the extent to which Microsoft is involved in the hardware side as well as the software side. So, I mean, Microsoft really know hardware. So if it is a collaboration, not just on the shell, but on the OS, but also on the hardware, potentially very, very exciting. But even Asus on their own, they've learned a lot from the original Ally. So yes, excited. Alex, what do you think?
I mean, well, I'm really just excited from the software perspective. I don't use these handheld hard things at all, really, actually. But the from the software perspective, I'm curious to see essentially where and what areas Microsoft is going to be taking the Windows front end to work on just any sort of non-mouse device, non-keyboard device, mouse mainly. And whatever they're going to be doing there is essentially the most important thing for me. I'm also very curious to see what their equivalent of a game scope is.
Right.
The game bar right now has useful stuff in it. I'm going to open it up. It's got useful stuff in it, but it also has a lot of not useful stuff in it, and it does. It also could use more. Like a lot of the stuff that GameScope does for you would be nice to see controllable from the Windows level. An actual Windows FPS cap, like they're the ones. Windows is the one fully in control of this whole presentation model. Why are we doing it through third-party programs? So it would be good to see Microsoft be pushing that angle, and then eventually see how hardware agnostic these changes to Windows are, because they'll be first tailored for this ROG Ally device. But what about other devices? What about desktop? So I want to see, this is the first step in that direction, presumably, and I just want to see exactly what stones are being laid for the road ahead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Interesting stuff. Well, obviously, we'll be following the news on that. Microsoft did announce that they're going to be having their usual not E3 showcase in June. So I do wonder whether that's going to be the next big PR beat for it. But at the same time, putting that teaser out from Asus like a couple of weeks back does kind of suggest it might be sooner than that, but who knows at this point.